Welcome back, welcome back. It's been 5 months since the Honduran president, Manuel Zelaya, was ousted and sent into exile, triggering a political crisis in Central America. Despite the political turmoil, Hondurans went to the polls last Sunday to vote on a new president. But most Latin American countries and the ousted president, who incidentally has been back in the country since September and living at the Brazilian embassy, said they will not recognize the result. The United States, on the other hand, has recognized the incoming president, Porfirio Lobo. Joining me now from Washington is Ambassador Craig Kelly of the Western Hemisphere desk at the US State Department. Craig, did this coup 5 months ago take you quite by surprise?
Well, we knew that there was a crisis brewing, and our ambassador tried very hard working with both sides to ensure that the crisis was resolved through constitutional and democratic means. As we all know, a different path was taken. We said immediately that what had taken place was a coup. And since that time, we've tried very hard to work with the Hondurans, with countries in the region, to help restore a democratic and constitutional order. That has been the entire focus of our policy since that moment. It remains our focus now. Several things have happened since that time, including the elections on Sunday, which are an important part of the step forward. We want to take advantage of that successful election together with other elements of this effort of national reconciliation, which includes implementation of remaining elements of the Tegucigalpa-San Jose Accord.
But was it difficult in terms of the debates in your offices and the offices of the people around you there? Was there any doubt in your mind whether you'd go for Porfirio Lobo or, in fact, go back to supporting Zelaya? Was it always clear for 5 months that this was what you were going to do, or was it a difficult decision?
Well, in terms of the elections, it's important to note that the elections had been planned long before the coup. The Supreme Electoral Tribunal, which ran the elections, not the de facto regime, had also been in place several months before the coup. And so it was always clear to us that elections, free and fair elections, were a sovereign right of the Honduran people to choose their next leaders, and that had to be an important part of the overall way forward. At the same time, we believe that there were many other things that had to be done to help restore constitutional and democratic order, which is why we supported the process of negotiations in the region, the so-called San Jose Accord, and then the subsequent Tegucigalpa-San Jose Accord, which we helped broker, because we felt that there were several elements that had to be put together to help the country move forward. Elections were an important part of that, however, and the successful election that was conducted on Sunday, I think, bodes well for our efforts to move forward in this restoration of constitutional and democratic order.
And what exactly happens now, do you think, to Mr. Zelaya? I mean, there he is inside the Brazilian embassy, protected momentarily or for a while by the Brazilians. Will that go on indefinitely, or will they say, on your way, or will he be arrested as he leaves the Brazilian embassy, or would the United States protect him, or what is his future?
Well, the president-elect, Pepe Lobo, has talked about the need for national reconciliation, and clearly the status of President Zelaya will have to be part of that package. This is for the Hondurans to decide, but they can count on the support of the region, including the United States, as they wrestle with these difficult issues. This will be one of the things that they have to take up during this transition period.
Would the United States offer a safe haven to Mr. Zelaya?
Well, you know, we never get into hypotheticals in diplomacy. This is really an issue mainly for the Hondurans to resolve. And they have our full support in helping to resolve some of these sensitive issues. But this is something that the president-elect and whatever government of national unity is formed needs to take up.
And in your area, the Western Hemisphere and so on, Craig, what's the situation after the headline news of an easing of relations with Cuba? Is there any recent progress to report?
Well, President Obama announced certain steps in our relations with Cuba that I think you're very familiar with regarding family travel and remittances and certain telecommunications links. The president has made clear that we are open to exploring these steps, but that at the same time we recognize the importance of human rights and movement toward democracy. And so we will advance and look for, possible steps, but keeping in mind those principles. We had a round of discussions with the Cubans last July related to migration issues that serve the interests of both countries. And we'll take this step by step and see how we go. The Organization of American States in Honduras a few weeks before the coup took up the issue of Cuba's relationship with the Organization of American States, and the organization did underscore the principles of democracy and human rights as we look at that issue.
Well, Americans have also been very concerned about relations with Cuba if they're cigar smokers, of course, and hoping that the ban on Cuban cigars will be lifted in the United States. But then they'd have a problem now of finding anywhere to smoke them because the laws have all changed.
That's right. I was on a plane recently arriving in California, and someone said, you may not smoke until you arrive at a designated smoking area, which in the state of California is practically nowhere. So your point is well taken.
Well, we have these little problems, don't we? Thank you so much for joining us, Craig. We really appreciate it and look forward to getting together again and shooting the breeze and reviewing the subject. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And now from politics to painting. In many ways, 7-year-old Keiron Williamson is like other children. His age, living in England, he goes to school, he likes playing football, and he enjoys painting pictures. But he's not like other 7-year-olds because his landscapes sell in art galleries for thousands of pounds. They've just done it in the latest sale. And I'm joined now by a very young man who's already been compared to Pablo Picasso. He's here with his parents, Keith and Michelle. Welcome to them both. Let's take a look, first of all. Just before we take a look at the first picture, congratulations that this last exhibition and sale went fantastic, didn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And when did you start painting?
When I was 5 years old.
Oh, when you were quite young.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at one or two of the pictures now. This one here, does this one have a name?
Yeah, I think it's called The First Snow.
The First Snow. Oh, very good. Well, let's take a look at another one. Oh, that's terrific. Look, isn't that bright? What's this one called?
I think it's called Sunset at Brancaster.
Oh, Brancaster. Yes, that's a famous. How did you come to start painting when you were 5?
We were on holiday, and it was the first time I asked for a pad, and so I think Dad got me one, and it was a big change because I was a hyperactive toddler.
He was a hyperactive.
He was very, very active as a child. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you first asked for getting the things to paint with and so on, obviously, did you find out that he was so good at it very quickly?
Well, the change from him being a hyperactive toddler to wanting to spend time drawing was a big change, but we never imagined that it would come this far. And that he would stay interested in drawing and painting, and over the 2 years he's just progressed at such a speed. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, and you've been to art school as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you did very well there, of course, and so on. Well, let's take a look at the next one of these pictures. Look at it. What's this one all about?
It's about 3 people walking along a Norfolk coastline.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, if you want to paint hills and mountains, there aren't many of those in Norfolk, are there? But there are these terrific scenes. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, that's a wonderful Norfolk scene too.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It really is. Keith, did you did you guess that, well, did you actually have skills in painting yourself?
No, I've got no skills whatsoever. I mean, me and my wife are both art collectors, and we used to take him to the local galleries and let him see paintings, and Picturecraft in Holt were very good at letting him see, you know, different artwork and allowing him to run around outside and then come back in, so he was always associated with the art. And then when we came back off holiday with his pad, I couldn't wait to take it down to show Carol, who's another shop in Holt, and Mike and Adrian, and they set him up with the watercolours, and then he progressed
and the
very
thing was,
quickly.
This exhibition, this sale you just had, £17,000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. What are you going to do with that?
Some of it's going in bonds, and I think about half of it's going to be spent on a pastel box with 700 pastels in.
But the sky's the limit for him now, really, isn't it, in terms of what you can do and something. Yeah. And when do you paint? When do you find time to paint? When you go to school, but when do you paint?
6 o'clock in the morning, after school, and on the weekends.
Painting at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's a good example to people too, isn't it?
Yeah, he's up before me and Michelle are up. He'll come through, and you can hear the stuff being pulled out, and away he goes. And then when he comes home from school, the first job we make sure he does is his homework, and then the evening's his.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't got a garden or nothing, so
No.
that is his.
So he's getting the view from the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they say they compare you to Pablo Picasso. Has anyone told you who that was?
Yeah. I think he painted stuff like people on kitchen towel.
Yeah, but he did indeed. And the reason they compare that the only person they think of who got 17,000 for their paintings at the age of 7 was Pablo Picasso. He's good example to follow. Thank you for being here. It's been really smashing fun having you here today. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck and God bless to the whole family indeed.
Thank you very much.
I'm afraid on that rather beautiful note, there's a church that up there on the screen we can put there. Look, there's a local church there. But that's all we've got time for this week. My thanks to all of my guests. Do join me again in 7 days' time, when I'll be joined, amongst others, by Tony Blair, Pink Floyd's Roger Waters. Thanks to all our guests, and particularly, of course, to Pablo here. Pablo Picasso. Ta-ta for now.